The Talkin Wrasslin podcast, where potting is real.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Talkin Wrasslin podcast. I'm your host for the week, Lissy, and I have a co-host, and his name is Dylan.
Hello.
That's Dylan. He's the co-host. You wouldn't know that because he didn't say his name. Hi, I'm Dylan.
Hi, I'm Dylan.
First rule in a promo. One of the first rules. Always say your name.
Gotta say your name.
Gotta say your name.
Say your name. Now the crowd knows who I am.
My name is Samoa Joe. He does that in every promo.
He does.
Every single promo, he always says, my name is Samoa Joe, and then yada, 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 yada.
See, I
It's
always,
his thing.
the funny thing is, like, once I was told that, like, oh, say your name in a promo. So, like, obviously, I would do that, too. Like, oh, my name is Delvon, or whatever. But then, obviously, maybe he just does it now because it's funny. But, like, you find different ways to put it in there.
Add it in there.
Yeah, to add it
but
in there.
But he just
instead of saying
always
the same,
does it.
Yeah, instead of saying the same thing. Like, I know, like, CM Punk has, like, his, like, little thing that he does of, like, it's good to be alive, insert city name on a Monday night, or Seth Rollins is, like, welcome to Seth, or Monday Night Rollins.
Yeah.
Like, people have that, like, I have the, because, hey, I'm not telling you anything, but,
I just like that Samoa Joe literally just keeps his to, my name is Samoa Joe. Like,
my name
one
is
of the
Samoa
most
Joe.
recognized faces in modern wrestling is Samoa Joe. I feel like that's a pretty good thing to, like a pretty common thing that we could say and agree on here. And everyone knows who fucking Samoa Joe is. And he's like, my name's Samoa Joe. And we're like, yeah, it sure is, man. It really is. Hi, welcome. So we're going to get into a couple things here. I'll start off by saying we're not necessarily going to be summarizing our week. I'll be summarizing the episode of what we're going to be getting into. But we're not going to summarize our week just to save time because Dylan...
We are recording a day after Mother's Day, so Monday. If you know, some big news happened on Sunday in the wrestling world, so that's going to take up a big majority of the podcast.
There's stuff, like, there's some stuff we're going to be talking about within the wrestling world to begin with, including Backlash. But we'll get into that later.
It involves the wrestler of the week that technically would be Lissy's week to pick, but both of us kind of came to an agreement, I think it pretty much, of like, we need to pick this person as the specific wrestler of the week.
Yeah. Go stop scratching the walls.
And then I said, okay, if we're doing that, Lissy can have the next two episodes where Lissy picks.
Good luck on that one. Yeah. I'm just going to separate the Young Bucks.
You cannot
I already
do that.
did the Young Bucks, but I'm going to say we didn't exactly just talk about Matthew.
No, we're not doing that bullshit.
I'll figure something out. But yeah, so we'll be talking about a couple things, not even really much things that happen in the wrestling universe. We'll be talking about the new Dark Side of the Ring episode, or the most recent Dark Side of the Ring episode that we caught up on.
Well, there's another one after that we have not watched yet.
Yeah. So where we are caught up on. We'll be talking about an episode of Dark Side of the Ring. We'll be talking about some Twitter beef. We'll be talking about Raw, Dynamite, Backlash, and then the Wrestler of the Week, which is going to take up a good chunk. So I'm going to start off with Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
So if you can hand me that Coke right there, so I can take a drink.
Michelle. You're Michelle.
Who the fuck is Michelle?
You're Michelle. I'm sharing a Coke.
I'm not Michelle.
You're sharing a Coke with Michelle.
So the episode of Dark Side of the Ring was on Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, and because my throat has been killing me for probably the past week, I'm not necessarily sick or anything, but my throat has been killing me, so it's hurting right now. Dylan, start talking about Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and this episode of Dark Side of the Ring while I take a good old sip of Coke with Michelle.
This was one of my favorite episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. When this episode was announced, I've been waiting for this specific episode to happen because I couldn't wait for them to talk about certain things. They could have added a lot more. Yes, they could do that in every Dark Side of the Ring episode. I'm not here to. I'm never gonna diss Dark Side of the Ring. I love what Dark Side of the Ring does. I don't think I can find any hate in Dark Side of the Ring. Maybe Chris Jericho's the narrator, but I understand why they do that because they're based out of Canada. And
okay.
No, he's Canadian.
No, I understand.
They're based out of Canada. They don't have to pay fucking taxes.
No, I understand that, but I just think that was like a crazy, wacky segue of going into things.
Well, I'd rather someone else narrate. Imagine Jim Cornette narrating.
They could have Kenny if they want to keep a Canadian. They could have Bret Hart, actually. Why the fuck don't they have Bret Hart?
Probably wants a lot of fucking money to do it, to be honest with you.
And Chris Jericho doesn't?
Yeah, but there's a difference.
Kenny would probably do it for cheaper, and he's got a great voice.
Imagine if they ever did one on Bill Goldberg, though. He needs to fucking narrate Bill Goldberg and be positive about Bill Goldberg.
And then this dumb, unsafe fuck.
My favorite thing, though, we'll get in this in a second. My favorite thing about Dark Side of the Ring is when Jericho is in the episode being interviewed, there's a different narrator. It's funny. Anyway, yeah, this episode is on Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. A great fucking mind in the wrestling business, from the Tennessee territories, the Mid-South territories, up to Philadelphia.
Good old Philly.
Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Not to be confused with Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Or Eastern Chaos Wrestling.
Three very different things. Very different things. No correlation.
ECW 4 or ECW 4667.
Okay, continue.
Anyway, yeah, this episode was on Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Great mind in the business. Pretty great wrestler, but Eddie Gilbert is more or so known for his booking mind, because he always jumped from pretty much territory to territory being the booker. Somehow, some way. He would wrestle, but being the booker. There wouldn't be an ECW without Eddie Gilbert, per se.
Mm-hmm.
And his booking style kinda is a good introduction of like what you see today in wrestling.
Well, because he was with ECW like right at the start.
Right at the start. He was only there for a little bit, from like 1993 to 93 to 93, only a couple of months.
Yeah.
It was only a couple of months. It was him. Todd Gordon owned it. Gilbert was the booker, and Paul Heyman was like learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what it was. And Eddie was booking, like that was the whole King of Philadelphia and stuff. And when Paul took over and everything, it became Extreme Championship Wrestling, and then Eddie went to Puerto Rico, and then he passed away.
Is Eddie just like a good name for wrestling? Because I can think off the top of my head 3 really good Eddies.
Yeah, like you don't really hear anything bad about Eddie Gilbert.
Well, I'm saying like, this is crazy probably to put them all into comparison, but I just feel like they're all so... They could really honestly be also vastly influential, of like Eddie Gilbert, Eddie Guerrero, Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
I just put Eddie Kingston into that because, like, goddamn, kayfabe.
Like, Sting, the Steiners, just to name a few, are the ones, like, that were under Eddie Gilbert's learning tree.
Mm-hmm.
So if it wasn't for Eddie Gilbert, you probably would have never heard of any of them. But, like, Eddie Gilbert's, like, style of booking was always really cool, because he learned it from, like, Memphis with the concession stand brawls, and then Mid-South Wrestling, where there was always something the fuck going on. I have to have you just watch, like, a couple episodes of Mid-South Wrestling from back in the day.
Well, if it wasn't...
always something going on.
If it wasn't for the concession stand brawls, we wouldn't have had as much extreme wrestling over in Japan.
Yeah.
Because it was...
Onita.
Yeah, it was Onita.
Onita was up in...
Who, was it Onita? Or was it,
Onita was in the match.
He was in the match. Okay, yeah.
Onita was in the match. Eddie Gilbert was in the match.
For some reason, I was like, was it Onita or was it Inoki?
Ricky Morton was in the match. No, Inoki sent Onita over for an excursion.
That's what it was.
That's what it was, because Onita was working in Japan, but just like you know, these certain companies should do, they sent their talent over for excursions to learn other styles, and it was literally Onita was being sent over to learn the American style.
Yeah.
And then he brought that back over, and FMW became a thing.
No, I mean, overall, like, it was a really good watch, and, I mean, these episodes always make me fucking sad, but it's just crazy to think that, like, it's not really crazy to think. It's just, he really put his whole fucking self into wrestling.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and there's not, like, a question about it. You know what I mean? Like, I did not know much of anything about Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert aside from Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert's a wrestler, going into this episode. And I was just kind of like mind boggled about how much he actually did.
Did you know he was a booker or anything?
No.
No?
I just knew he was a wrestler. That was it.
Makes sense to you
sorry,
it makes sense to you why I found this episode interesting than any other episode.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's no secret. I probably said it before, but I would have always rather been a booker or a manager than a wrestler.
Yeah.
And thank you, Eddie Gilbert, for inspiring me.
Yeah, no, and it's also just interesting to hear stuff about, like, things from, like, more of, like, a booking aspect as well. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I love listening about wrestlers' lives and everything like that, but hearing about stuff like that goes on behind the scenes is always really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's why I listen to these podcasts.
Oh, and I mean, let's not even glaze over the fact that he was literally like the innovator of the shoot promo.
Yeah.
Like,
he
literally started the shoot promo.
Eddie Gilbert fucking was one of those guys.
Or shoot interview, whichever.
Three steps ahead in the business.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what was going to be next.
Maybe not necessarily a shoot promo. I would say like a shoot interview.
It's a shoot interview.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
It's the old school, no one ever does them anymore, but you sit down, because now it's just podcast and stuff, but like, it's when you sit down, camera's filming, and someone is off camera asking you questions.
It's crazy.
You're just going.
Because Eddie Gilbert started that, and we were watching an episode of people doing the exact same fucking thing that Eddie Gilbert started.
Yep.
Where they're sitting down talking about the business and Eddie Gilbert in the business.
Yep.
And like, I mean, there was people there, like, I'm not saying like they were like digging into this guy or whatever, but there was like, you know, past wives and family members, and there was also friends like Jim Cornette was on this one, and he was a lifelong, like literally,
Jim Cornette,
they got into the
Jim
business
Cornette
the same time.
technically stole Eddie Gilbert's job.
Yeah, but like they got into the business at the same time, so they literally grew in the business together. And he's sitting down talking about his friend.
Yeah.
And talking about his life behind the scenes of everything.
Medusa was on there, and fucking wow, why am I drawing a blank with her? Fucking wow, I'm really drawing a blank with this fucking bitch.
Dude.
Well, she is a bitch. I know that.
I don't know who she is.
Hold on. Eddie Gilbert's wife. I know her name. She's literally was with Joey Janela.
Oh,
fucking Missy Hyatt.
Missy Hyatt. Okay, yeah. No, that's valid.
Why? Yeah. Why do you think I
couldn't remember who the fuck you were talking about. I was like, who are you talking about?
No, they're Medusa and Missy Hyatt. I couldn't think of her fucking.
Because I'm just like, because Missy Hyatt wasn't even in it for that much.
No.
And I'm like just thinking about the really, which I guess was Medusa.
It was Medusa.
I was like the really nice woman that was talking the whole time. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Why would I disrespect Medusa when she fucking is like best friends with Bull Nakano?
Dude, I don't even know, and I couldn't fucking remember. But like,
of course I'm gonna call Missy Hyatt a bitch.
Yeah, no, Missy Hyatt's got some, yeah. Yeah.
She'll call herself a bitch.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But yeah, no, overall, really good episode. Really interesting watch, and I would recommend checking it out.
Yeah, especially if you want to learn like the booking aspect of things. Like, learn how a mind of a booker works, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting episode. I love these episodes. Yeah, that's the one we're caught up on. I think we got to watch Billy Jack Haynes. Mm-hmm. And then The Sheik is coming out this week. So that's going to be a very interesting one, especially on today's main topic of the podcast.
Yeah. I don't want to fucking talk about stupid fucking Twitter beef.
It's funny.
It's funny, but like this is fucking stupid.
Oh, it is, but it's funny.
Fucking, we're gonna talk about the Javon Evans Ricochet beef that Dylan has fucking screenshots of.
This is so fucking funny.
It's
I'm
so
sorry.
Stupid, man. Like,
so like the Javon Evans from NXT and our boy Ricochet from AEW.
I think I liked Javon Evans when I was watching stuff.
Yes, you liked Javon.
He had the cool pants, right?
And he did his theme was "Let's get bouncy" or something.
Yeah,
Your boy's bouncy.
Yeah,
and he
I
was
love
doing
this
crazy
guy.
shit. Yes, you liked Javon Evans.
Yeah.
What is your opinions on Ricochet?
Okay, here's the thing, right? I I love Ricochet's wrestling style, whether it was in AEW, whether it's in AEW or it was in WWE. I've always said I think Ricochet is a very talented wrestler. I'm not really a fan of his character in AEW, but also in fairness, I don't think he had a character in WWE. So I don't really have a saying on that aspect because I only ever really saw him in like random matches on WWE. I feel like I never saw him in promos or whatever.
Okay, but let's talk about Ricochet and AEW and his behavior on Twitter. Like, what do you think about that?
The thing is, I don't really care about behavior on Twitter, or especially when it comes from wrestlers. The one thing I did have an issue with from Ricochet was him retweeting shit from Andrew Tate. That, I don't care about, like, your gimmick and whatever. That's just fucking stupid, and you're making a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
But, like, when it comes to talking about wrestlers on Twitter, it's hard for me to really kind of, like, pinpoint how I feel about it, because a lot of them are kind of doing it in character wise. Like, if I'm gonna say the most annoying fucking person on Twitter that's a wrestler, I think it's Max Caster, because Max Caster is just saying dumbass fucking shit he shouldn't be saying.
In my opinion, it's Max Caster, Ricochet, and Samantha.
But maybe that's also the thing, is I don't see a lot of what Ricochet posts on Twitter, and I definitely don't see a lot of what Samantha posts on Twitter, so maybe I'm just kind of missing it all, but I always see the shit Max is posting.
Ricochet was never this active on Twitter, ever.
It's because a lot of the wrestlers from AEW are active on Twitter. Mm-hmm. That's the thing, is it's a very prominent area for AEW fans.
That's what Ricochet was never this active on. That's what I'm getting at. Ricochet was never this active on Twitter. Like, he would barely respond to people, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Now he's always chronically on Twitter arguing with someone, as is everyone else. But it's every day.
See, I never see it.
And yeah, there's times where it might be a fucking Fed Pill stan at fault. But then there's times where Ricochet that says some stupid shit, someone responds, and they just keep going. Like, these people don't know. Ricochet doesn't know these people. He's getting paid fucking Tony Khan money, and he's arguing with fucking people.
Dude, if I was getting paid Tony Khan money and I was only working like 1 or 2 days out of the week, I would also argue with idiots on the internet and get paid for it.
It's just fucking... Anyway, I don't know what Ricochet was tweeting to, but someone tweeted something probably referring to Javon Evans, and then Ricochet said, "I squash him." Then Javon Evans goes, "My bad. I just got done training at the Performance Center under Shawn Michaels. Something that you don't have or do, but I bet your brown egg head ass would smash me if Tony told you to. Much love, OG. Hashtag the young OG. Hashtag Tupac of this generation." Anyway, Ricochet responded, "Brother, I was learning from Shawn Michaels when you was like 12. Then went on to become multiple-time champion. Let me know when you win one, little boy. And yeah, if Tony asked me, I definitely beat ya king. Crown emoji." I'm reading it. Javon would respond, "You learned from HBK when I was 12 and became a multiple-time champion. Now you're wrestling in front of 2,000 people every week for a crackhead. Talk about an upgrade, am I right?" And then he said, "Sounds like Mr. Khan isn't giving you enough attention, so you had to come for a successful ass youngin'. You're giving me the most views on my post, and I'm finally helping you get the most attention you ever had in your career. All love." And that's it.
Part of me kind of wonders if, like, they're actually, like, homies and tight with each other, and they're just beefing with each other for the fuck of it.
They probably are.
Part of me kind of wants to feel that way. But, like, First of all, I've said it a million times, and I'll say it a million more times. The cokehead, crackhead, Tony Khan shit is fucking old and it's stupid.
He called Tony Khan a cracker.
It's literally, it's fucking annoying.
Do you think he burned the bridge?
I don't know, maybe. But, like, I don't really, like, I don't know. I don't think it's that creative anymore. Maybe the first couple of times I heard it, it was funny. But, like, now it's old and it's boring and it's overused and I'm tired of it. Come up with something funnier. How about, we're not talking about it today, but how about we talk about fucking Tony Khan on Maven's newest YouTube video.
Oh my god.
And how he showed up and that motherfucker did not set his coffee mug down for 1 second. It was in his hand.
That was the funniest shit,
It was in his
bro.
hand the entire time. He hugged Maven and was still holding the coffee mug.
Go watch the new Maven YouTube video when he sneaks into AEW backstage. It is the funniest video
Like,
ever.
how about we talk about Tony Khan's lack of security into the building that he just walked in?
Yeah, bro,
Can
Maven
I
just
walk in? Like,
Maven walked in there, said hi to some old friends, and then asked if he can get Tony Khan to talk to him.
Like, what if I just did that? What if I was just like, oh, I'm friends with the Young Bucks, they follow me on Twitter, and they just let me in? Like, but nonetheless, like, I don't know. Why don't we make fun of him for that? Because, Tony, did you accidentally superglue your hand to the fucking mug because you were too busy to not read the directions? You were trying to fix it, and now your hand stuck to it perpetually?
So,
like,
this is my opinion on this shit. It's fucking stupid, but it's so fucking funny. But also, if this was coming from, let's say, like, someone on the main roster, like a CM Punk, a John Cena, a Cody Rhodes, someone with name value that has job security with WWE, okay, go ahead, call Tony a crackhead, because you probably ain't going to AEW. Javon is on the NXT brand. Sorry. Javon's on the NXT brand. They cut people left and right.
yeah, no, he could be released in like 3 weeks.
Javon will either look like a fucking hypocrite if he goes to AEW, or Tony Khan will just be like, looking like an idiot if he fucking gets Javon.
Yeah,
Either way. I think a bridge might have been burned. I don't think I think he maybe should have just, like...
I mean, he can beef with Ricochet, but, like, why bring Tony into it? You know, like...
I was about to say, okay, beefing with Ricochet is one thing, but also Shawn Michaels was brought into it, so I can also see why Tony was brought into it. Because Shawn was brought into it. So, that's what I was going to say, because why bring in Tony?
Yeah, but, I mean, you probably deleted it. But, like, it doesn't even matter. But, like... I feel like Shawn Michaels being brought into it. Shawn Michaels was brought into it by Javon.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna look up, is who brought Shawn into it.
Because he said, I'm being trained by HBK, and then Ricochet was like, bro, I was being trained by Shawn Michaels or whatever when you were 12.
So yeah, maybe Javon brought up Shawn.
And brought up Tony.
And Tony. Tony shouldn't have been brought up then, unless Ricochet brought up Shawn.
Yeah.
Javon brought up Shawn, so...
He's just digging himself a grave. Like, he's gonna get in trouble from Shawn, probably, for saying something stupid.
Well, they made him delete the tweets.
Yeah.
They made him delete it.
And then, like, if he ever were to be released, like, unless, like, this is, like, just some silly banter between two friends, let's just say, like, they're just, like, digging at each other because they always dig at each other. Who knows? And unless Ricochet's like, hey, boss, man, you'll probably see this stuff on Twitter, but it's fine. Him and I are, like, friends. We do this all the time. So, like, I'm sorry that, like, he said some stuff, but, like, he didn't mean anything by it. He's just being silly goose or whatever. Like, you know, like, then maybe, sure, fine, whatever. But it's not, like, the thing is, to me, it's not a good look on young talent. Now, is it a good look on Ricochet as a veteran talent? I would say definitely veteran talent. And beefing with a youngin'? No, it's not a good look on anyone, and it's stupid, and it's whatever. And even if this was supposed to be lighthearted, funny, where they have a good relationship back and forth, putting it on a public platform, especially when they're in two separate brands going after each other, is not, like, that's not gonna read that way to everybody, if that's what it was. There's a slim chance that that's what it was.
But, I mean, we didn't really talk about this, because this actually didn't end up being a big thing. I thought this was going to be, like, a huge thing.
No.
But, no, I'm talking about another thing here. Because, like, Will Ospreay also did this WWE kind of recently.
When?
When he said, "Oh, I don't enjoy WWE, mate." Bro.
Oh, yeah, when he was just like, "Oi, bruv, I'm not really into the WWE style that they got
I thought that was
going
gonna
on,
be
bruv."
a bigger thing, but it wasn't.
No, because he didn't necessarily. I mean, WWE stands might be like shoving their thumb up their ass trying to fucking reach a point, but like it does. Like all he said was, "It's not my cup of tea right now." Like he didn't say anything inherently wrong. You know what I mean? And honestly, with the way that WWE's been going in these past couple of pay-per-views,
Yeah, we'll be getting that.
I don't think a lot of WWE fans are really that. Like if WWE was like Bloodline, like Bloodline peak. And Will Ospreay said that, then people might be quicker to jump the gun, but like a lot of people have more things to actually argue against WWE right now than they have in the past.
A lot of people have just given up at this point.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's that, but you know what I mean? Anyway, let's move on to Raw. And you have a fucking this isn't all one sentence, is it?
I don't fucking know.
No, it is. It has to be.
I don't fucking know. Do you want me to read it?
No, I got it. I'm just gonna read this to you as Dylan typed this.
I was high when I wrote this.
Paul Heyman just made Jey Uso put his title on the line against Seth Rollins tonight, 5 days before he defends the title against Logan Paul at Backlash, which...
I was wrong.
You put that you were wrong.
Oh,
I think.
Did I? Okay.
I don't know, but...
I thought it was at Backlash.
Yeah, hold on. Paul Heyman just made Jey Uso put his title on the line against Seth Rollins tonight, 5 days before he defends the title against Logan Paul at Backlash, which I wasn't really paying attention to the promo. I don't even think Logan Paul's name was ever mentioned, so I can't wait to talk more about this in a few minutes, because the match will probably end in a fuck finish involving Logan Paul and maybe Sami Zayn. In parentheses, I wrote this at 8:27 p.m. as I'm watching Raw, end parentheses, start new percent... Oh my god, parentheses. Paul Heyman mentions Logan Paul in the very next segment, end parentheses, never mind, it was Punk. Mark Zuckerberg is what this is fucking giving me. Trent Reznor did the soundtrack. Who the fuck invented Facebook? I don't even remember who the fuck invented Facebook. I just know the guy who invented Facebook. Who the fuck invented Facebook? Trent Reznor, never mind, it was CM Punk. What the fuck does this mean?
What does the never mind it's CM Punk? Oh wait. The never mind it was Punk. Okay. No. So ignore the never mind it was Punk. Yeah, so like Paul Heyman and Jey Uso have this like emotional segment on Raw, and then makes Seth Rollins he makes Jey Uso put the belt on the line against Seth Rollins later on in the main event. Okay, cool. That's all you pretty much need to know. So it's Jey versus Seth Rollins. They have a pretty fucking decent match. And I was like, well, this is going to end in a fuck finish. Logan Paul's going to get involved. No, it was CM Punk. That's what the never mind it was Punk was about. Punk got involved because Sammy got involved too. So now it's fucking Punk, Sammy, and Jey Uso versus the Evolution 2.0.
I see this. I think I literally walked in at the very end of this where CM Punk came back and I was like, he's back already.
This was a weird episode of Raw from Nebraska, and you can tell they didn't want to give Nebraska much.
Yeah.
But they gave Punk just randomly coming out. So that was cool. There's a big problem with WWE right now, and it's the pacing of their fucking... Not like the pacing of their shows are a problem to begin with. Hour waits in between matches and stuff. But my problem with WWE is we just had WrestleMania 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We are now having Backlash. And then in 2 weeks, we are having Saturday night's main event.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think 2 weeks from there is Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much going on.
Yeah.
With so much little time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Classic WWE deciding to shit the bed once every 5 years.
Yeah. Anyway, Dynamite.
Ospreay has taken Hangman's spot.
He has.
So, I think the show opened. Yeah, I believe the show opened with Hangman.
They opened, yeah.
Where Hangman came out and he was like, my mustache and hair looks pompous and beautiful. I am her, she is me. walked out to the ring and was like, I don't know why you guys keep cheering for me, but thank you for continuing to cheer for me. You know, I've been through the ringer, everything with Swerve. I'll never be able to forgive you, but I think I can move on past this to go on to face Will Ospreay to become the AEW World Champion, whatever. And then Ospreay comes out and they have a stare down, not a full stare down, but they stare down each other for a little bit. And the funniest thing happened in this because they're trying to be serious, staring at each other, but it just so happens to be Will Ospreay's birthday. So everyone in the crowd is chanting happy birthday to Will Ospreay while they're just staring into each other's.
He doesn't even acknowledge it.
Doesn't even acknowledge it. Like, it was so fucking funny. But Will Ospreay was like, oi, bruv, we've been in so many different promotions together, bruv, and this is the first time we're seeing each other one-on-one, bruv. Oi, love you, Hangman.
Which is
You've
crazy.
had a hell of a couple years. You became to be the world champion, and then everything went to shit, and you've been trying to find yourself since, and I can respect that for you. However, well, you've been trying to... I can't keep doing the voice, but basically... Ospreay was like, well, you've been trying to find yourself and you've been trying to pick up the pieces of everything that was left shattered from you. I've been filling in your spot. I've been doing the meet and greets. I've been doing the media. I've been taking pictures with kids and their families after the shows go off air. I've been the one that's been carrying this company on its back while you're sitting here for selfish reasons trying to, you know, reclaim the title because of your redemption arc. And I don't care about your redemption arc. I care about my future and carrying this company to the promised land. And it was a good segment. Fucking Don Callis' family, of course, came out and ruined it. But basically,
yeah, why were they there again? I forget why they were there.
Don Callis just kind of came out to pester Will Ospreay and was like, you don't even know the guy that you're in the ring with. You're standing next to a monster, this, that, and the
Why
other
are
thing.
we continuing with the Don Callis?
I don't know. But anyway, it leads into a can they coexist story where Ospreay and Hangman are going to tag up against two members of the Don Callis family.
Another can they coexist story. They're doing it on both fucking channels.
Yeah. But basically, one of the points that I brought up to Dylan was so, it was interesting because this is why I love girls in the Elite with their storytelling, because the four of them just always manage to make little nods. Can you not cough? Can you not do this? They always just manage to like always make things come full circle, pretty much. And the whole reason as to why Hangman fell into this arc. Are you good?
Yes.
The whole reason, Dylan. The whole reason Hangman fell into this arc of basically spiraling into madness was because when he started his feud with Swerve Strickland, Swerve wanted Hangman's spot. He said he's coming for his spot because Hangman kind of lost his footing. He lost his way. He was the main character pretty much, but he wants to take over that main character role. And they basically had this... We know how the feud with Swerve and Hangman went. Hangman loses his fucking mind. He goes insane and he loses himself once again. And while Hangman was so concerned with Swerve taking his spot and, like, filling his shoes as that main event guy, Will Ospreay was doing the whole thing right under his nose. Will Ospreay became the face of AEW. Will Ospreay became the main character of Season 2. Will Ospreay, like, took the world by storm, became a beloved face, while Hangman, still a beloved face, fell to the waysides. The exact thing that Hangman was scared of happened, but with somebody he wasn't expecting. And I think that's really fucking cool to think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? Are you excited for the Will Ospreay and Hangman match? Because I think already 7 stars.
I already told you I am because I didn't know, and I said it's crazy that it's their first match. So yep. I don't know what to expect. We're like... Yeah, I'll still get, like, excited over, like, a Kenny Omega Will Ospreay match. Because you know it's going to be good, but at the same time, like, when Kenny and Okada happen, I'm going to be excited. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But I already know what to expect.
Yeah.
Where I don't know what to expect for this one. Thank God they're doing something fucking different.
If Hangman had such good chemistry with Kenny in their world title match, and Kenny and Ospreay, well, they're not obviously identical, but I feel like Kenny and Ospreay reminisce well enough, like, in comparison in the ring to each other. Obviously, Ospreay is a little bit more flashy, a little bit flippy and whatnot than Kenny, but they both, to me, have a very similar vibe, and with how Hangman wrestled with Kenny, I can honestly see it being as good, if not, this is going to sound crazy, if not better than Hangman's match with Kenny.
I think it's going to be good regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should fucking main event the fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah, but it won't. Actually, well, no, because who the fuck is Moxley feuding with right now?
Bro, it's going to be something... the Ops, technically. But...
Oh, yeah.
But that's why they're having the title match on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Because fucking Double or Nothing is probably going to be Anarchy in the Arena. Because we are in Anarchy in the Arena Blood and Guts season in AEW, technically. And Forbidden Door.
Bucks, please be in the fucking Anarchy in the Arena. Please save it.
They're going to be. It's going to be the Death Riders and probably the Elite versus the Ops and fucking...
Kenny.
Couple of fucking Yahoos.
Probably Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny's one of the Yahoos.
Probably Kenny and Swerve.
Because, mind you, that pay-per-view is happening in 2 weeks. It's happening at the end of the month.
So it's probably going to be the Ops.
Oh, I got to pull up. What else do we got? Oh, we got to talk about one more thing on that.
So it's probably going to be the Ops. So Shibata, Hobbs, and Joe. Because I don't think Hook's going to be back by then.
Unless that's when Hook is back.
Maybe. And it's probably going to be Kenny and Swerve. And then it's going to be the Bucks. Probably. So the Bucks.
Mox will be in it.
Mox is
Claudio will be in it.
Claudio, and then
Yuta will be in it.
Well, it's either gonna be Mox and Claudio, and then we're gonna add either Okada, probably not Okada, but Ricochet I can see being in it because Ricochet's been doing this thing with the Bucks for a minute, or Ricochet gets taken out because he's annoying, and then like, oh my god, who's gonna be the 5th member to Anarchy in the Arena? Jack fucking Perry comes back.
No, that Jack Perry will come back in this match. He won't be a partner.
Oh, that's true. So it's probably gonna be Ricochet then.
They're gonna fucking win regardless.
It's probably
the Death Elite.
It's probably gonna be Ricochet, or it's just gonna be Yuta.
The Elite Riders.
The Elite Riders. That's what they call me. Anyway, anyway, the Elite Death Riders. There you go.
The Golden Elite Death Riders.
The Golden Elite Riders?
What if it's Kota Ibushi?
No, that's Kenny's boyfriend.
Yeah, they're fucking with him.
It's Kenny's boyfriend. He is still part of the Elite.
They never did anything with him. He's not fired or suspended.
He's just inactive somewhere. Anyway, let's move on to let's bring in Rhino, let him lose clean to Nick Wayne in his hometown with a botched finish.
Yes, exactly what I just fucking said.
Yeah, so
what the fuck was this?
I did not pay attention to see what happened at the ending of this. I just saw that Nick Wayne won, and then oh my god, I almost called him Jericho. I'm so sorry. Christian Cage dropped the title in front of Nick Wayne and didn't strap him up with it. And I thought, because I didn't see the finish at first, I thought, oh, Christian probably helped him win because Nick Wayne was getting his ass handed to him the whole fucking time. He probably did something to help him win, and then was just like, you can't even, like, defend this on your own, so you don't deserve to fucking whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you little shithead, you fucking suck, you loser. But no, it wasn't that. Yeah.
He botched the Unprettier, Kill Switch, whatever.
Yeah.
I call it the Unprettier. It's a cooler name than Kill Switch, in my opinion. Yeah, he botched like the Unprettier, but it was cool to see Rhino, but then it wasn't cool to see Rhino. Because it just made him look like a bitch.
Well, he's put over the young talent.
There's better ways to do it.
Nah, he put over the young talent.
There are better ways to do it.
Why would Rhino beat Nick Wayne for the fucking Ring of Honor championship?
I'm not even saying he had to beat him. He could have fucking lost. He lost clean. Why?
I don't know. Maybe he wanted to.
It's fucking Rhino.
Maybe he said, the future of wrestling is Nick Wayne and I will lose clean to Nick Wayne. That is a sentence that could have happened.
They also once said that Rhino was the future of ECW, and he was the last ECW champion, and look how that fucking handled out.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Rhino. Also, they're fucking reheating TNA nachos in the AEW with Christian Cage and Rhino now. Hell yeah, brother. I love when the TNA nachos get reheated.
It was somebody from Christian's past. It wasn't Jack Perry, but it was someone from Christian's past.
Cope's gonna fucking come back and win.
Can you imagine?
Fucking win the fucking Ring of Honor world title.
Yeah,
Nick Wayne's gonna run through a bunch of people from Christian Cage's past. Like fucking, who's next? Fucking Monty Brown.
Luchasaurus.
Monty Brown, he's gonna do fucking Bangkok to him.
Marco Stunt.
There's gonna be so many, and then it's gonna fucking just lead to fucking Cope defeating Nick Wayne because no job Cope over here.
Yo, can we talk about the fact that literally no one has talked about it since it has happened. The fact that just randomly with the Jack Perry Open TNT challenge, Marco Stunt just showed up.
Yeah.
There has been such minuscule but important Jurassic Express lore drops that have happened that we're going to see some sort of resurgence in at some point.
Anyway.
Okay, whatever.
Want to know what's funny about this match? Little fun fact. Tony Khan's in the audience for this match.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Tony Khan's there for this match.
How do you know this?
He has stated it before. That he is here for this match. There's interviews of he was there for this match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's talk about Backlash. I barely watched Backlash.
I'll pull it up. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a brief run. It's not missing much on the Backlash fucking pay-per-view. Fucking Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash. Thank God it's not called WrestleMania Backlash anymore. This year it was called Backlash St. Louis because they were in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
St. Louis. There's fucking... there was 5 matches on this card. Fucking 5. We had a fatal 4-way match for the United States Championship between Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre. Jacob Fatu won. Drew McIntyre took a fucking gnarly, nasty-ass bump on the outside of the ring on the concrete. Whacked his head. So he might be dead. Hopefully not. Hopefully he's okay. Jacob Fatu got the win with the help of Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb is all WWE.
All WWE. Which, I mean, I'm not surprised. They were talking about this being a possibility.
But how do you feel about Jeff Cobb showing up? You've seen him in AEW before.
Yeah.
He's done some things. But what do you think about Jeff Cobb? Are you surprised he chose WWE or?
No, I mean, it is what it is. Good for him, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be aligned with good people. That's not gonna necessarily bury him in the card.
He's kind of in the bloodline lore right now. So.
Yeah, I just hope it's not gonna be something where they sign him and not to sound disrespectful or anything, but I don't think Jeff Cobb, at least to me, really seemingly is large enough of a name for them to be this is a massive, huge deal. He's a big name. People know who he is.
I don't think he wins the world heavyweight title.
No.
But he definitely is going to feud with Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I just don't want them necessarily to drop the ball on him.
I can see him and Solo being a tag team too, because Jacob Fatu's the fucking single star.
Yeah.
Solo ain't a single star.
No.
Jeff, like you said, Jeff Cobb ain't that big of a name, but him and Solo as a tag team would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because they would just be ass kickers.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. But an old friend of ours that's no longer a friend, I hope they're eating their words.
Well, I mean...
I hope they're eating their words.
Well,
Because they're a massive Jeff Cobb fan, but they hate WWE.
I just am happy for him for going somewhere that hopefully he'll make a lot of money, and hopefully he's treated well enough in his career, and I just hope they don't waste him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really all I could hope for with these people. I was never a huge Jeff Cobb fan. I thought he was pretty cool. But never a super fucking big Jeff Cobb fan. So, maybe with what I see from him in WWE, maybe I'll be okay, yeah, I kind of vibe with him, but...
Gunther versus Jeff Cobb. would be fun.
Yeah. Anyway, what's the next thing?
The next thing for the women's intercontinental championship, the Bird Lady defeated Becky Lynch. Becky Hogan did a job.
Well, good.
Supposedly this match was pretty good. I didn't watch it. I didn't want to watch it. Moving on. We had a singles match for the Intercontinental Championship. Dominic Mysterio defeated Penta. And get this. This was kind of interesting. Dom used the Oblivion in the match. Which is Liv's move. But it was just kind of like a weird thing to see.
Yeah.
But Dom won because El Grande Americano cheated out Penta. Headbutted him with the loaded mask.
Why are we using... I mean, I get it that he went after... Like, that was the thing with Ray. But, like... Why is the fake luchador beating the real luchadors?
Because in the end, it's probably leading to a mask versus mask match between one of these guys against El Grande Americano, with the actual luchadors going over and it being Chad Gable. That's where this is leading to. I guarantee you it's going to be Penta, because it'll probably be Penta. It's going to be Penta versus El Grande Americano in a mask versus mask match.
And Penta loses.
Yeah. No, it's good. That's literally what it's gonna.
I'm tired of El Grande Americano.
It's gonna come to an end soon. I don't know when they're gonna end it. Probably at Money in the Bank.
Do you know how many times people come in and order a Grande Americano at work? And every time they order a Grande Americano, I get mad. Not even because an Americano is really easy to make. So it's not even because I have to make it, it's because I have to hear it.
Fair.
Anyway.
We had Gunther defeat Pat McAfee. That took 14 minutes, and that is my issue with this.
This match was not... No.
This match went on way too long. It should have went 9 minutes shorter.
Mm-hmm.
I get having Pat trying to fight for his life. You could have done all of this in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Of Pat coming out, literally fucking swinging, trying to do his puns, have Pat do his Pat McAfee stuff, and then have Gunther just murder him. Could have had the Michael Cole fucking... You could have done all this in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, this match could have literally been... What they done in this match, they could have trimmed a lot of it down, done the exact same shit, had the... Minus the, 8 comebacks fucking Pat had. They're making Gunther look like a bitch, is what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee is a commentator.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther is a former world champion.
Literally just lost the belt 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And they're already making him into some sort of fucking...
So I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Moving on to the main event. This went 28 minutes.
Oh my god, it felt like it.
For the undisputed WWE Championship, in probably their worst match to date, John Cena versus Randy Orton.
I'm not liking the way that John Cena wrestles as a heel.
It is so dog shit bad.
It's terrible. And I get that that's the point, but...
They did a really cool sequence in this match, though, where they just kept trading fucking headlocks and sleeper holds, and it was like, fuck yeah, I love 80s wrestling. But yeah, I do like that it's the nut shot belt shot as a finish, though, for John Cena. I do like that. What a heel finish. Cena as a heel is funny, because he's stooging, and it's great.
Yeah.
But the wrestling could probably be a little bit better.
Well, yeah, but his whole thing is he's trying to ruin wrestling for everyone, so he's making it look bad. But
you're doing this in your main event of fucking pay-per-views, man. R-Truth comes out. R-Truth came out because we're supposedly teasing John Cena versus R-Truth at Saturday night's main event. Because in the press scrum after this, fucking John Cena attacked R-Truth. Fucking Orton laid everyone out at the end of the show because it was his hometown. This pay-per-view just, middle of the road. Nothing's fucking going on. A show about nothing.
Yeah, I was bored.
Literally every champion retained.
Yeah.
So.
I was bored with it.
It was literally a fucking here, point A was WrestleMania, but point B is this fucking show.
Yeah.
And Backlash is just a fucking bridge. That's what this was.
Yeah.
Nothing fucking special.
Boring pay-per-view.
All right, well, it's time to move on to our main event of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The main attraction of this podcast. And
Mm-hmm.
that is our Wrestler of the Week.
Yes.
And it would technically be Lissy's pick for Wrestler of the Week. But I came up with the idea on unfortunate circumstances of that this guy should be the Wrestler of the Week in honor of his memory. Our Wrestler of the Week is Sabu.
Yes.
The homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying Sabu. Because literally out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, to our knowledge, out of nowhere. You know, we don't know what could have possibly been going on behind the scenes, but at least the fans' perspective out of nowhere.
Literally out of nowhere, I guess, from what Taz said, it was Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
He passed, and everyone found out Sunday.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Sabu literally wrestled like 3 weeks ago at WrestleMania weekend.
Mm-hmm.
At WrestleMania.
At the WrestleMania weekend.
We literally just talked about it.
Yeah.
He fucking had something against Joey Janela. Yeah, he had something that was a match of some sorts against Joey Janela. And now you sit back and reflect on it and you're like, did he know?
I was gonna say, not to like make conspiracies about a person's life.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if he knew his health wasn't good and he knew he was gonna die soon. And he was just like, fuck it, try to kill me in the ring.
Cause yeah, he took some gnarly bumps in the ring. Sabu went out the same way he came in.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Guns blazing.
Guns fucking blazing. Taking a gnarly ass fucking bump.
Mm-hmm.
After bump. Wondering if he's actually dead or not. And unfortunately, he really is now.
Well, yeah.
And it's sad. Like, this one actually hit a little bit.
Yeah.
This one hits, like, a little bit. Because, like, man, it's Sabu. Like,
I feel like I've always just known about Sabu.
Right? Like
I don't remember when my introduction to Sabu was. It was probably watching ECW with my brother, if anything. But I feel like Sabu was just one of those people I always knew growing up. Like there's like, okay, like in life, there's bands that like no one really remembers when they heard about them first, but you know that you've known them your whole life. Like bands like fucking like Metallica and shit, right? You never know when I couldn't tell you when I learned about Metallica. I just kind of grew up knowing about Metallica and knowing that they existed. I don't remember ever discovering them. I just remember them being a thing. It's one of those things that like you think about and you're like, was I just born with this knowledge? Are people just born with this knowledge at this point? And that's kind of like what Sabu is to me, of just like I cannot remember a point in my life where I did not know about Sabu, did not know Sabu's wrestling, was not aware of Sabu. I feel like I was born with the knowledge of his existence ingrained into me.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, I think, like, my introduction to ECW was ECW One Night Stand 06, the Barely Legal pay-per-view, and the Rise and Fall of ECW. Sabu's all a predominant fucking role in all three of those because he's a big role in ECW. Like, my first Sabu match I ever saw was him versus Rey Mysterio from One Night Stand 06. Mm-hmm. They did a crazy table bump, and the match just gets thrown out. But they do like this crazy fucking table bump that makes it look like they both die. It's pretty much a dream match of some sorts because it's Mysterio versus Sabu. And then I got to see Sabu wrestle Taz, which is a legendary fucking match and a legendary fucking story that they had in ECW. And then the Rise and Fall of ECW, you've watched it, and they go in sections, and when they get to the Sabu section, they literally go through his whole career. Yeah. Of how he debuted there wearing the fucking Hannibal Lecter mask, chained to the back. He faced Taz in his debut match and shit like that. Like, it's insane. And I actually have a tweet here from Dave Meltzer of literally, like, Dave put it best. And I still need to listen. I actually want to listen to his tribute show. I can't believe I'm actually saying it. he did a tribute on Sabu, and I actually want to listen to it because people are actually saying it. He did a really good job with it and everything. But he said, "I'm so sorry to hear about the death of Sabu. He was a giant part of the evolution of this industry. There are not many people I can say if you take them out of history, things change greatly, and he is one of those few." And for real,
yeah.
if you take Sabu out of history, if you erase him from history, there was never a Sabu, wrestling would look a lot different.
Yeah.
Sabu was an innovator.
Mm-hmm.
He innovated a lot of shit. Not like people always talk about like, oh, the crazy fucking shit he did, the death matches, the hardcore wrestling and shit like that, doing moonsaults through tables and shit like that. This motherfucker, we gotta talk about how great of a mat wrestler he was.
Mm-hmm.
Him versus Taz is really good. Him versus Hayabusa is phenomenal. Him versus RVD is great. Like, Sabu has had so many fucking great fucking matches. I also, one of my, like, biggest memories of Sabu, because I just remember seeing it and stuff like that, was I got to see, I witnessed Sabu and RVD versus Hayabusa and Jinsei Sasaki from Heatwave 98. That was my introduction to Hayabusa as well, and a big introduction to Sabu as well, because I was like 9 or 10 watching this match, and this match blew me away because not only is Hayabusa in there, but I'm also witnessing RVD and Sabu literally do what they do, and there'll never be another RVD or Sabu. Like, they're literally one of a kind, pun intended.
Yeah.
But I also then got to witness Sabu versus John Cena, when Sabu would put John Cena through the fucking table and shit. And that's just legendary. That Sabu's had such a legendary career that he went from wrestling at Kawasaki Stadium with his uncle facing Onita to facing John Cena on a WWE pay-per-view to having his one and only WrestleMania match in his home state of Michigan, teaming with his best friend and 2 other friends from ECW, which is insane. Sabu's had such a legendary career. You talk about some Sabu now.
I mean, he was a part of the Undisputed Kingdom.
Yes, he is.
Randomly. No, honestly, I gotta say, like, one of my favorite stories, and this is like a newer story, but I don't know, it's so, like, I don't want to say crazy to me, but, like, in the Joey Janela documentary, he talks about growing up and idolizing Sabu, and he finally got to have this match against Sabu, and he was just not in good condition, and it was, like, this terrible fucking match or whatever, and I'm just like, honestly, classic Sabu right there. Like, anything that this man did just felt like, in, like, his later, I mean, not even his later part of his life, but just hearing about it, like, behind the scenes, it's just like, this man's so unserious. He didn't show up to his own Hall of Fame induction to the Indie Hall of Fame. Classic Sabu.
He stayed in the hotel room.
Yeah.
He fucking, man, he's done a lot. He would botch on purpose in matches to add to it.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally stated that. He's had some great fucking tweets over the years.
Oh, yeah.
He's had some great tweets over the years.
Tits.
Trans. Oh, you meant trans people, not transportation. What the
I think, what was it, the way that he said right on was RT on?
Mm-hmm.
Right on? What the fuck?
And then the best one, the best Sabu one is WTF LOL. Because he would always tweet that too.
Oh, man.
What else is Sabu? Fuck, I'm trying to think of funny Sabu shit. He hated WWE CW, obviously. They made him talk.
Yeah.
They made him talk and shit, so fuck that. Sabu has a book. And, like, one section of the book is literally dedicated to, like, fuck you, like, section.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this person because of this shit. Fuck this person. The one that sticks out is, Jim Ross, this one's for you. Fuck you, Jim Ross, for disrespecting the Sheik. It's like, okay. a Sabu, there wouldn't be an RVD without a Sabu.
Yeah.
Because the Sheik trained RVD, but the Sheik also trained Sabu, but Sabu was literally RVD's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Since RVD was 18 and stuff. Like, they were always intertwined with each other.
Is he the one who showed RVD weed?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, funny enough, this story is from RVD. When RVD was the WWE and ECW champion, as you said, the two greatest belts he was holding at the time.
Yeah, crazy. The two best looking belts ever.
We went back and watched a little bit of Vengeance 06, and it was after the Sabu John Cena match, where it's a John Cena RVD promo, and RVD has both belts on his shoulder, and Lissy was like, man, both of those belts are the greatest looking belts of all time. And I gotta agree.
Two of the best belts ever, and RVD's holding them simultaneously.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like, I gotta agree. But funny enough, I think you know about this, the reason why he lost both of them is because they got pulled over for weed.
Yep.
Sabu was willing to take the fall completely.
Yeah.
On all of it because of Rob being the champion. He didn't want to fuck over Rob.
Yeah.
So plus Sabu was just kind of looking for an out.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
He's like, I didn't want to be here, bro. Let me. But
obviously, they didn't. Either of them didn't get an out. They just got buried, pretty much.
Yeah.
Especially Sabu, he got buried and on his way out and everything. So Sabu should be in the Hall of Fame, and he's dead now. Put him in. Because now there won't be any controversy.
I literally just saw a tweet from Sami Zayn saying that like he was pushing this like a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
That Sabu should be in the Hall of Fame.
Sabu should be in the Hall of Fame because literally he is an innovator and a big influence.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big There wouldn't be a Hayabusa if there wasn't a Sabu. I mean, look at Hayabusa's pants.
So true. They shop from the same clothing store.
But like, another big Sabu moment is he left ECW for Japan, and then Paul Heyman was like, "Fuck Sabu."
Yeah.
Fuck. Like, he was so pissed, but then he showed back up.
And he's like, "Oh, Sabu, my beloved."
Fucking Chris Benoit broke Sabu's neck in a match.
Yeah.
And like Sabu like continued to wrestle.
Which like he probably didn't even know his neck was broken. Honestly,
he probably didn't give a fuck.
He's probably just like, "Oh, something else is sore now."
Bro, Sabu's just a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah.
Look at him. Yeah, crazy. He's scarred up. Let's talk about some of the like infamous barbed wire matches he had. Like Born to Be Wired against Terry Funk. Mm-hmm. He fucking cuts his fucking bicep and then tapes it up mid-match. Like, and like Paul Heyman comes out and goes, "We went too far." Him and Abyss in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Sabu fucking literally wrestled everywhere, bro. From Japan to ECW to JCW. He was a fucking juggalo, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with like
XPW.
He was such a big independent star.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest independent wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, so it only makes sense that he's just gonna kind of show up everywhere.
Yeah.
He showed up in like the biggest promotions and the smallest promotions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He really just went everywhere to just be fucking insane.
And everyone fucking knew who he was.
Yeah.
And Sabu is one of like the first like big wrestlers that got popular via tape trading, fun fact.
Yeah. Like
people, like that's how Brian Last learned about him, was tape trading and stuff. This death literally hit everyone. Not saying like other wrestlers' deaths hit everyone hard and whatnot, because they do, and it's the same thing that always happens when a wrestler dies on Twitter. Everyone's sharing stories, but like, bro, I'm gonna open Twitter right now, and there's gonna be fucking someone sharing something about Sabu, because like that's literally what it's been since yesterday. Is people just fucking like Brian Last shared something about Sabu, like people, yeah, like. Like, it's just crazy that Sabu, like, I'm just reading shit, like, Sabu's just there, everywhere.
Yeah. A
dominant role in professional wrestling.
I feel like there's not a lot of conversations I've had in life about wrestling, like genuinely just talking to people about wrestling, not even like obviously you and I have conversations about anything wrestling to begin with, but like if I had like if I like talk to people like oh like if they see a shirt I'm wearing or a hoodie I'm wearing, like, oh, you're a wrestling fan, it's like, oh yeah, you know, and especially if they're like old heads, and it's kind of like, oh, I used to watch it back in the day, but I haven't really caught up with it now. Like, it was so much better back then. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I kind of grew up with like a little bit more of like ruthless aggression and some ECW and whatnot. And they were like, oh yeah, you know, I always loved ECW, like guys like Sabu and shit, always doing like, you know, he's like always.
My dad knew who Sabu was.
Yeah.
Cause I was at my dad's yesterday when I found out Sabu died, and I was like, oh shit, Sabu died, and my dad was like, I remember Sabu. He was a crazy motherfucker, just jumping through tables and shit. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Anytime I've ever talked to anyone about wrestling, especially the old heads, they always bring up Sabu.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Especially the ones that are like, oh, it was so much better back in my day when you had guys like Sabu wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sabu showed up on WWF television in 93 and was doing crazy shit. And people were like, what the fuck?
Who the fuck is this guy?
And then he showed up in WCW, like the first couple of episodes of Nitro, he's on. And people were like, what the fuck?
And it's also just crazy to think about, like really how far Sabu has transcended. And you can laugh about it, but like, he was in WWF/WWE, ECW, WCW, TNA, and AEW.
Yeah.
And New Japan. Was he over New Japan? He was over New Japan.
New Japan, FMW.
Like, we're not even talking, like, just smaller independents like GCW and shit. Like, we're talking, like, the biggest names in wrestling he was in, and then he was also in shows that were, like, in a high school gym, like, the next day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, the scope of wrestling he has transcended is mind-boggling.
Someone shared a funny story about Sabu, because, like, also, I'm on Juggalo Twitter as well with JCW and stuff, and someone shared a thing of like, my favorite Sabu moment is when he was at like the gathering of Juggalos, and he came on stage with ICP to do the Fago showers, and what they do is they shake up the bottles and you can spin the cap off and it explodes, or you can shake it up, stab it with a knife, and let it go fucking crazy. They wanted Sabu to do that with his spike. He totally forgot to do it, and he just whipped this fucking... Yeah, you know when you shake up soda, it gets fucking pressurized and shit. He shook up this 2-liter bottle of Faygo, whipped it in the crowd, and it nailed some dude in the face. And he said that, and like the dude tweeted out saying, that's my favorite moment. Getting whipped in the face by a Faygo bottle.
From Sabu.
Yeah. That's fucking funny.
Like, when you think about Sabu's career and all the shit he did and all the places he went, you would sit here and say, like, yeah, he died in, like, his 80s. He was 60.
He was 60 years old.
He was 60 years old. Let's put it in perspective. Sabu was younger than my dad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, my dad is older than Sabu, and Sabu, like...
It's 60's young.
60's young as fuck.
Young.
Like, he lived an insane fucking life.
Yeah, he definitely had health problems. I know, like, his wife died a few years ago.
Yeah.
And that takes a toll on you.
Well, Sabu also, like...
dabbled in the drugs.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So... And not only just that, but the insane shit he put his body through.
He wasn't the healthiest motherfucker.
Like, there's no way that he was healthy from all the drugs he did and the condition his body was in. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not to knock him or anything from that. It's just, physically speaking, your body will give up on you.
He's a wrestler that wrestled the hardcore style. They can do a dark side. They're doing a Dark Side of the Ring episode on his uncle.
I mean, and they can do one on him. You can honestly sit here and say he literally did wrestle that hardcore style until he died.
Yep, he did.
Because he did almost die in his last match.
Yep,
and then died. Like, and it's crazy to think about.
Literally, yeah. Like I said, they're not only doing a Dark Side episode on his uncle, the original Sheik, this week, but they can literally do one on him now next season.
You know, I didn't even think about the fact that they haven't done one on him yet.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, I could have sworn that they did.
I mean, maybe the Sheik one will be maybe about him as well.
Yeah.
Which is, like, it's crazy that this episode...
Is he in it?
I'm assuming. If they're talking about his uncle.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, so this might be like his last... Well, no, his last ever interview he did an interview recently after his match with Joey.
So this is probably like the second to last. One of
well,
the
yeah,
last
because this was
interviews
all
he
filmed like last year and
Yeah.
stuff and whatnot. Like, so he definitely has to be in, but like it's just not. I wasn't even thinking that. I was just thinking it's really wild that he passed, and there's an episode on his uncle this week coming out. Like that's insane. Because when you think of Sabu, you think of the Sheik. When you think of the Sheik, you think of Sabu as well. Because they were always intertwined and everything, too. So it's just really crazy to think that. If you're wondering what my favorite Sabu match is, we currently have it on right now. It's Sabu and RVD versus Hayabusa and Jinsei Sasaki. Heatwave 98. If I had to pick a singles match, you could pick any RVD match that he had with RVD. Him versus Cena, I love, because it's crazy to think that he wrestled John Cena and John Cena wrestled Sabu. Sabu versus Taz. Sabu, Hayabusa, 1-on-1. Fuck it. A really good one. Really good one. From the first ever Juggalo Championship Wrestling Bloody Mania. It is Trent Acid and the Altar Boys versus Sabu and ICP.
I wonder if there was ever a time in my life where I saw Sabu live.
I never got to see Sabu live.
I don't think that there is, but also when I saw Sting live for the first time, I didn't know that that was not my first time ever seeing Sting live. That apparently I did see him in TNA.
Yeah.
So
I never got to see Sabu
Did
live.
I see Joker Sting? Maybe. That's crazy. But I don't know. Like, is there a possibility? Maybe. Couldn't tell you. Could probably have my brother tell me.
Yeah, we watched a really random Sabu match last night. It was Sabu and RVD versus the Lucha Bros in a very small TNA ring.
Yeah.
Give me some of your favorite Sabu moments and memories and
I mean, honestly,
matches.
It's kind of really hard to pinpoint because, like, a lot of the time when I was watching Sabu matches, I was a lot younger. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, not to sound disrespectful or anything, but it's not like I'm necessarily sitting here commonly putting on a Sabu match. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's no disrespect to him. It's just, like, just kind of how it is and what I'm looking at, like, right now with, like, the wrestlers that I'm watching. And also, I'm more so, I don't want to say for time's sake or anything, but, like, I'm more so just sitting and watching, like, weekly wrestling than I am, like, going and finding matches. Now, granted, when I was, like, working at the tattoo shop and I was able to just watch TV, I would be putting on YouTube and I'd be throwing on, like, random Ring of Honor matches, sometimes TNA matches, or whatever was on YouTube that I could find. PWG matches I was throwing on, GCW matches I was throwing on, you know what I mean? So I had more time to, like, sit and watch shit. And especially when I had the luxury to do it while I was at work. I was getting paid to watch wrestling. Let's put it that way. I was getting paid to watch wrestling at one point. Which was really cool. But especially now, like,
well, from your childhood, just...
I can't remember that far back, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure if we went back through the ECW catalog and whatnot, like, and we watched some matches, I could be like, oh my god, shit, okay, I fucking remember this. You know what I mean? At the very least, though, from what I can say...
Like, did you remember seeing Cena versus Sabu?
Yeah, I do remember seeing Cena versus Sabu. Because I was not big with the whole WWE ECW thing growing up. Like, me and my brother did watch it nonetheless. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely remember all that. But, like, without, like, you know, really having anything overly definitive and specific to say, I can just say, like, I know my whole life, like, growing up, I did enjoy watching his matches. I did enjoy watching him. I did enjoy seeing the crazy fucking shit he was gonna do. And, like, even when I got, like, even in my age now and whatnot, like, again, not to bring it back up because it's kind of silly, when Sabu just randomly showed up with the Undisputed Kingdom, and I was just like, oh, I'm so fucking excited for this now because Sabu's just gonna do something fucking stupid. Or with the Janela match that just happened, I was like, this is a terrible idea, but it's gonna be like the most GCW thing ever because Sabu's here to just do some random ass fucking crazy ass fucking bullshit. Like, I knew, growing up and obviously now, I knew if Sabu was gonna be involved in a match, this was gonna be something either of a fucking banger or was gonna be so off the wall, wacky, and bad, it was gonna be entertaining. I knew no matter what he was involved in, I was gonna be seated and enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's one of those people where it's just like, I mean, if Dylan really wanted to just sit here and, I mean, we have been watching some Sabu matches and whatnot the past day and so, but like, if Dylan really just put on like a Sabu fucking match and I was sitting down and I was watching with him, I'd be like, all right, let's fucking go. I'm not opposed to this.
Well, yeah, this is Trent Acid and the Altar Boys versus ICP and Sabu. I'm not even joking.
Like that's the thing too. He's just with ICP. Why?
He's a juggalo, bro.
Like,
he's a straight up juggalo. My favorite thing about JCW Sabu, like early, I don't know if he's gonna be wearing them here, but the pants that he wore were the same pants, but he had a Hatchet Man on the pants. I think he comes out wearing a Hatchet Man shirt in this match, though.
And like the thing is, I don't know, if I looked at Sabu, I don't think I would expect him to just be just to be a juggalo, but he just is. And you know what? It also at the same time makes fucking sense.
Bro, he's down with the clown.
You could sit here and tell me anything about Sabu, whether it's real or fake, and I'd be like, yeah, that chalks up.
Sabu is a big influence, especially like in our backyard wrestling circle.
Oh God, yeah.
How many times? Like, I throw chairs like Sabu all the time.
Every single person in the backyard circuit idolizes Sabu to some degree.
Yeah, like I don't do what Sabu did with the triple jump moonsault, but
Sabu,
like I would run off the chairs. Everyone would do that.
Sabu's the reason so many people got injured in their backyards.
Yeah.
Like Sabu is the embodiment of don't try this at home.
Was Sabu in backyard wrestling? Like the video game. Hold on a second.
He had to have been. I
think
no
so.
way.
Backyard wrestling video game. I want to fucking find it. I need a PlayStation 2 or an original Xbox to play these games.
Or a reverse compatible PS3.
That too.
I used to have a reverse compatible PS3.
That's true.
But that's probably expensive. I don't even know how much this game is.
Sabu was in this fucking roster.
Well, of course he is. Because also, like, I'm sorry, but if you sit here and you tell me, like, to think about early 2000s backyard wrestling, like, obviously ECW comes to mind as number one because that's just kind of the vibe everyone went for, was crazy fucking ECW shit. But, like, if you were to tell me, yeah, like, put some wrestlers to the name of what you would think backyard wrestling would have been influenced by, I hands down would have been like, well, Sick Nick Mondo and Sabu.
Sabu is in Backyard Wrestling 1. He's not in Backyard Wrestling 2.
Mm-hmm.
Backyard Wrestling 2 is better than 1 in my opinion, but Backyard Wrestling 2 technically has a better roster than 1. You want to hear these rosters quick?
I guess.
Because Sabu is technically a topic of backyard wrestling, if you want to say.
Yeah.
So.
You should get a PS1. Where's the GameCube?
It's somewhere in the closet.
I want to play Kirby Air Ride.
The roster for Backyard Wrestling 1 is Violent J, Shaggy Tudo, Madman Pondo, The Rude Boy. I'm only reading like what people would know, or you would know, maybe. Mad Dog 2020, JCW's Evil Dead. Let's see if we know these two names. Jamie Madrox and Monoxide Child.
No.
They're twisted.
Oh, well.
Sabu. Some person named El Drunko. And now, Backyard Wrestling 2. We have Madman Pondo, Vic Grimes. He's the guy that almost killed New Jack. Or New Jack killed. Whatever way you want to put it. Vampiro. New Jack. Matthew T. Burns. Ruckus. Sandman. Violent J. Shaggy Tudo. Sanjay Dutt. Messiah. Supreme. John Zandig. El Drunko, Mass Horn Dog. Anyway, yeah, there's Sabu. He's wearing a Hatchet Man shirt.
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
He also had a really cool theme.
Yeah. But yeah. I mean, is there anything else you want to say? Aside from, of course, rest in peace to Sabu.
No, I think that's about it. He's a rest in peace, Sabu, a fucking legend to this business, gone way too soon.
Yeah. Well.
And it's kind of one of those, like, you don't know what you got until it's gone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of them situations, crazy, like, one of them, like, anything can happen. Like,
literally at any time.
Literally, we were just talking about Sabu, like, 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Fucking wrestling Joey Janela. And here we are talking about Sabu yet again, but in a different way.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Sabu does deserve his flowers. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
He does deserve his flowers. So I hope he gets those flowers, especially from major promotions, because that's how people find out about stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I know the independent scene honors Sabu very well.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and they always will. So that's always a good thing to...
He's like their guy.
Yeah.
Like the guy.
He's literally the guy.
But, alright. Let me take us out of here, I guess.
Take us out of here.
Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, subscribe, send it to your friends, your neighbors, whoever, really. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us at Talkin Wrasslin Pod. That is TALKIN_WRASSLIN_line_pod. You can find me on TikTok you can find me on TikTok at Lungbucks, LUNG_BUCKS. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the same handle, which is Lungtar, LUNG_TAR, and Blue Sky at Lungtar, LUNG-TAR. Dylan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Dillweaves, DYL_line, WEAVES_line. Or you can find me on Twitter, same thing, Dillweaves, all one word, no underscore lines.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we will catch you in the next one. Oh my god, we're gonna get copyright strike.
That's why I'm playing at the very end.
Alright, goodbye.